In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Andycine C7 Lite kit. This is a 7-inch HDMI 4K on-camera monitor with touchscreen control. Now, I actually wanted a 7-inch monitor like my Atomos Ninja Inferno that didn't have a blooming great noisy fan in it. So when Andycine offered to send this to me, it seemed like a good opportunity to try it out. And I'm going to make comparisons between these two units throughout this video. Full disclosure, this was a freebie, but Andycine don't get any input into the video, and I'll be giving you my honest opinion on it. I'll be going over what's in the box, the monitor's features, what it's like to use them, the image quality, screen brightness, how heavy it is, battery life, and importantly for me, how noisy is it? Inside the box you get a really nice padded case, and inside that you get the monitor itself, a pretty solid looking swivel bracket with an Allen wrench to adjust the tension, a small NPF 550 battery that features an integrated USB-C port for charging and a charge level indicator. You also get a USB-A to Type-C cable, a micro HDMI to full-size HDMI cable, and a folding sun hood. With all that's included, I am a tad surprised they didn't go all out and include a full-sized HDMI cable for cameras that have that kind of connector. Now, one thing that doesn't come with this package, but which Andycine sent to me anyway, was this small dual cold shoe adapter. Now, the spacing between each of the shoe mounts is too narrow for use with the monitor, and I think they just sent it to me to have a look at, but it's nicely machined, and I've already found a use for it holding a pair of wireless microphone transmitters to my rig. Now, the price for the C7 Lite kit is currently around £250 in the UK or $240 in the US, and to me that sounds like quite a good deal. The C7 Lite has a much smaller bezel than my Atomos Ninja Inferno. In fact, it's a lot smaller in every dimension. It's significantly lighter too. It feels solid, but not unnecessarily so. I think Andycine have got the balance right between build quality and weight. The 7-inch 1920 by 1200 resolution screen is big enough for manually pulling focus, but not so big that it becomes unwieldy on your camera. This is my preferred size of on-camera monitor, and overall, I quite like this design, although I'm not a huge fan of the giant Andycine logo. I guess it is what it is, but in my opinion, it does make it look a little bit cheap. There are 4 1/4-inch mounting points on this monitor. That's one on the rear, and then there are 3 more on the sides, into which you can mount the supplied swivel mount. And incidentally, I did need to adjust the tension on my swivel mount as it was locked tight straight out of the box, but they do give you the Allen wrench key for loosening it, so that's nice. On the top of the monitor we find the power button and a rotary wheel that doubles as a button for navigating the setup menu and features. But given it can also be operated by touchscreen, you probably won't use that very much. On the left hand side there's an HDMI input that accepts 4K at up to 60 frames per second, a pass-through HDMI output. There's also a 12-volt DC power input and an 8-volt DC output, which you could use to power your camera via a dummy battery cable. Now, the cable for that's not included in the package, and I don't have one, so I'm unable to test it. But in theory, you could power both the monitor and your camera from a single power source. On the bottom, there's a USB Type-C input, which can be used to power the monitor with a fairly standard 2 amp rated charger. Then there's a headphone port, useful if your camera doesn't have one, and an SD memory card slot for loading in LUTs. On the rear, there's an NPF style battery input, and interestingly, an NPF battery output, which could be used to neatly power a wireless transmitter straight off the monitor. The C7 Lite appears not to have a cooling fan, so it does get moderately warm in use, but it stays absolutely silent, and as a sound designer, I thoroughly approve of the fanless design. Let's compare the C7 again with my old Ninja Inferno, because when it comes to battery life, the Inferno is horrible. With a single small NPF battery lasting about 30 minutes, It also gives you a persistent low battery message at 25% that continually interrupts your workflow. Admittedly, the Inferno has onboard recording features, but without a hard drive attached, it still chomps through batteries. With the C7, I fully charged the same battery, set the screen to 50% brightness, and it lasted over 2 hours, with only the small but clearly visible battery indicator turning red at the 2-hour point. So battery life on this is really good. There is a price for that silent running and good battery life. This is not the brightest monitor in the world at 500 nits. Now Andycine do make much brighter monitors that have a cooling fan, and I'm hoping to try out one of those for outdoor use at some point in the future, but the C7 Lite is definitely more of an indoor monitor and only marginally brighter than the built-in monitor on my cameras. However, I found the viewing angles to be good, contrast to be good, and the colours seem to be reasonably accurate. But the main point of a monitor like this is its size and feature set. And here the C7 really shines. The quickest and easiest way to access the tools is by swiping up from the bottom of the screen. There's HDR and log profile corrections, with the option to load in your own Rec 709 conversion LUTs via the SD card slot. There's a waveform monitor for exposure, and that includes RGB and luminance options, a vector scope, false colour, including a guide as to which false colours represent each IRE value range. There's focus peaking, zebras, audio level meters, colour filters, frame guides for all the common aspect ratios, composition guides, a zoom function, an overscan option, flip and mirror controls, and anamorphic de-squeeze options. Most of these tools are really well implemented. The vector scope is a bit cheesy and rough looking, but the focus peaking is easy to see, the exposure tools seem accurate, and I find the blue filter useful for seeing how much high ISO noise is in your image. If you just want to quickly change the screen brightness, you can swipe up or down in the middle of the left-hand side of the screen, and if you want to change the volume, you do the same on the right-hand side of the screen. It's all really easy to use, and that is important, at least to me. I think this is a great little monitor, especially for the money. And I'll be using it for indoor work over my Atomos Ninja Inferno when I don't need to record externally. Its only real weakness is the low brightness, making it less than ideal for outdoor work. But then getting a super bright monitor typically comes with drawbacks for indoor work, like noisy fans to prevent overheating. At the end of the day, these are just tools and you have to pick the right tool for the job. For me, this is my new indoor on-camera monitor, and the bundled accessories, including, let's not forget, that really nice travel case, in my opinion, makes the Andycine C7 Lite a really great buy. And it gets a thumbs up from me. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you found this video useful, please leave me a like, and please do consider subscribing for more videos about film, sound, and music production. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.